Okay, I cut the chart 2 weeks and we're just going to backtest on this random day. The whole point of this video is just using levels to get to levels equivalent to that level, right? So basically like cycling through a PDR, not really looking at anything else today, just how to take trades off of level cycling, what it means if a level like this holds, where is it going to go? If this holds, where is it going to go? We know it's going to go to here. If this monthly holds, we'll be looking to get up to here, just stuff like that. So right now this is the daily open order block. If we jump down onto the chart here, we had this whole run up, which gained it. Now we're coming back down to hold the point that broke price up, which is the lowest point. Daily's been retested here, so we already knew it was going to come down to here after gaining that daily, which was up here. We also had a sweep as well. So if that's the case, this sweep shouldn't break this range. It should be used to fuel the move down to the point where it broke price up to hold, to then continue up to that next daily level. Also as well, this is the bearish order block. That's holding, so that's refusing to go down. We already cycled through that level as well, so there's not really any reason why price would be going down here. Okay, so our bias right now is up after coming down. First target would be the top of this range. We'll see what brought price down. The higher here as well. We've got a couple of things to look at, and we can look at interior ranges as well. So first of all, we want to see if this 15-minute order block is being gained. So if we go into 1 minute, we can take a look at what's going on now. We're already getting the midpoint of it here. If we're getting the midpoint, we should be able to gain that level. Let's see where that high is. So, sorry, I just had to pause it there. So we'll look at okay, we got that level there. First level in this that we got to get to, right? Well, this fueled the move down. So we're looking at this order block here to have a reaction back down to here to then proceed price up. Maybe we get to the midpoint of the 15-minute, maybe we hold off the high, whatever. But this should flip direction somewhere down into this range. So right now, what can we be anticipating? Well, if we're gaining this, we should be gaining the level itself. So maybe what we get here is we get a run up to gain that. Okay, so I had to pause that again. I had to go somewhere. But what I was saying, I'm pretty sure, was if we're holding this, we should get to here. First target up here, right? So if you see what's happening here. Okay. Right. It's clearly holding this daily, right? This is the daily order block. Alright, trying to hold that to go up. Is there any interior highs or interior lows? It's been broken. No, just kind of moving sideways so far. Highs, lows. Looking for one of these to break out so we can get the other side. Or potentially sweep, break into the exterior, get something to bring that price up, or sweep, break into the exterior, come back down, and get that. Both options is still going to result in the same outcome, in my opinion. Okay, so we sweep that side. So if we're sweeping that side, we should break this side. We've broke that side now. Okay, so if we break that side, should now get movement down. Movement down the order block of the ranges here. So we can anticipate price moving back down to here. For a start, we also obviously have this low. This is the extreme, as in we did break these highs here. So maybe what something happens here is we could sweep this, which will then result in the break of these, get something in that to go up to this level, or we just get something that holds off of this, creates a order block, and we can get in off of that. Okay, so I would have been looking to see if that midpoint gained. It doesn't look like it did. I mean, you wouldn't really know unless you looked at it on the 15-second. Let's make that line 3 thickness. Okay, so if that felt there, maybe the extreme is to come down to here. We do also have the lowest point of the range here, the range that hasn't been gained yet. Okay, instead we swept. I moved price a bit too fast there, unfortunately. This is something I would go for. Sweeping that route, we already think it's going to go up. We're talking about this is going to bring price back down to create a range or hold off of a range. Instead it came down to sweep. Like I said, that's the extreme. If we're sweeping that side, we can break the other side. So break above here, potentially up to this range. If we miss that, we can then look for potentially a move back down to here, as we did close this interior high. This could flip direction down to that. We can get something off of this. Okay, there's the flip back down at 3. I would have tried this, would have missed this, never tested down. Let's see if it does. It doesn't. Okay, so next thing you can try then is maybe the next candle tests into here. We can take the candle that tested into this order block, because it's the next order block in this sequence. Close this higher. This is the order block for this high and low. So this range should be the one that holds next. Doesn't test. So unfortunately, unless we got here up and got, you know, like a trailed out for about 1 to 2 hour, we would have missed this whole move here, unfortunately. But the idea was right. So what we can look at now is potentially a short from here down to here. Why here? Because this is the next range in play. We're not now looking for it to go all the way down to here. It can, definitely can, but unless we break these highs here, I don't see why we'd need to come down to here. Because this, you got to look at it and go like this. This order block here isn't technically activated, as in we've not closed the high for that order block, so there's not really any reason why it needs to come back down to there until that closes. If it doesn't close and it was to come to here and fail that, then I'd expect this to fail, because we never closed the higher for this order block. So I would be looking for shorts now. Highest fair value gap missed. Inversion fair value gap did get tested. Would have definitely missed this though. I would have been waiting for it to hit this. It didn't. If it did, I would have went for this down to this range. So if we went for like the midpoint of that candle, like 2.44R, which is, in my opinion, is fair enough, good enough. Okay. So this should only temporarily flip direction to here, or maybe the midpoint. Okay, we got here. Very good trade to take this. Very good trade. Next part in sequence that needs to hold is here. We get here. Breaks up. Can't see this doing anything. It can. Maybe it flicks direction down to here. If not, we'll go straight up to that level, which we haven't tested yet, because we haven't tested it or the highest point of the range. We can still expect that flip down before we go higher. So the longs we're in, we're not looking to get in up to here. We're looking to still get to here. So we did get there now. So now we've got down. What can we expect? We can expect a short down. The extreme level in here would be this, midpoint of the order block. Also have the fair value gap, the highest one. Didn't close the midpoint. Can't see why this won't take price down. Close these highs here, so now it's activated this order block. This is also the next order block in the sequence to hold if we are going to go up. Is that swing at 30? So what I would have tried, see if it would have hit. It would have. Too many levels here. I'm just going to get rid of some of these. So swing happened at 30, did come and test us, so we would have been in this. We're trying to take that down to here. This is the first place that could flip the direction. If it's going to hold here, it's going to be an aggressive move up. If it doesn't, then you're on set to come down here. Can't say that I wouldn't have been trailed out here, but if not, we would have got to our target. Lowest fair value gap is what got held. Cool, another correct idea there. Okay, so if we was looking for this to only flip direction down to here, as the extreme, I know I said we can't come, there's no reason to come down to here, but this is the extreme. If we don't come up off of this will get skipped. I think we'll come to here. Or we have these lows. Maybe it comes to these lows. Okay. Or we just come back to the daily, right? First sign of this not holding would be failing to get above here. Low closed, high here. This is an order block. If that holds, breaks here, and then we could anticipate coming back down to here and here. Okay, it's broke. So this is already telling me this range isn't holding. So if that's the fact, what could we do then? We could get short here if it comes up. There's a short, takes it down. Was there a swing? 57. Wasn't a swing. Still something I would have tried. Would have missed unless I got intra candle. Trying to take it down to there. Same thing again. Something I would have tried. Close the low. Close the low here. I still think we can go lower. Yeah, we're holding the daily. But right now, I think we can slip the daily down to here before going lower. So what I would be looking at here is target here. Maybe you could add a small stop loss, entirely up to you. I would go for the tighter stop loss personally, but still, it's still 2.65 with the bigger stop loss, exactly where your stop loss should be. Anyway, back down to the 15-minute order block. Don't know if we gained it. We didn't gain it, so maybe this could be a failing move. If not, and this does hold, and then there's nothing else up here to hold price down except from here. These have all been tested. None of these are just going to randomly hold. Next place to hold would be here. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Right down to the bottom of the range now. So we're looking for something to hold. Maybe we can still go down to here. If not, we've just created equal lows. So if we've created equal lows, that's something that can get tested in the future. Oh. Okay. Come down to the bottom of the range. First sign of this not continuing this movement down would be not holding this. Trying to create that push up. In my opinion, this does not look like it's holding. Look at the difference, right? Close, come up, fall off a cliff. Close, come up, fall off a cliff. This one's come up, didn't fall off a cliff. Instead, it's holding the highest here. We've got close, so it's going to come back down to the order block, holding that. This is holding before this is closed. It's kind of anticipating, so I'd be anticipating that movement up still. I'll be looking for a long once this closes, if we could get one. If not, then we can potentially revisit these lows. Okay, so we've got exactly to those lows. We're now at that lowest point, almost at that lowest point, but we did sweep those lows, so in my opinion that's enough. Maybe we create a range here, which we have. If we look here, right, there is a high, there is a low. Very interior range. I could hold. If we get above it, we can test back down, get into that. What would bring us back down to there? Well, it would be the top of this range. The highest fair value gap, is there one? The highest fair value gap is here. What I'd do is, because we have a gap here and here, I would just mark them, the whole thing. So if this brings price back down, I would be willing to get into a long here, because we've swept now. We've swept these lows, potentially break these highs now. Remember, the whole concept as well is, if we're holding this and this is rejecting to take us lower, this bearish daily order block, PDR of it, then we can potentially have that run up, right? Okay, so it did that exact thing, right? It came up, closed here, holding here. The first thing I would have went for is this. Would have taken a break even here, or maybe a partial. So if this big push up here, maybe I was trailed somewhere on the 15-second, could have locked up something. If not, it would have been break even. Still would try something if we can get it again. So if this comes back down, This is next order block. It comes back down to here. I'll take something. Nothing in here should hold anymore. Already been tested. In my opinion, direction's flipped now, so none of this should keep us down anymore. If it was gonna, it would have dumped off of this, closed here, and continued down lower. Instead, we closed the higher. Okay, for the high's been closed. This fair value gap's been closed. Have a bit of a move down, which we do. Straight to the order block. Okay, next order block in the sequence is here. We've got above that. So what do? Once we get above the midpoint, we can take that. Regardless where your stop loss is, under the order block, under the low. If I'm targeting these highs, mine is under the order block. So for 3.33, that would be my first target. Anywhere we can trail, yes, we've got a black candle, and then here, so now we're looking up more than we wanted to, or anticipate to in the start. Have a gap here that could take us down, so I wouldn't, sorry, we've got a gap here that can still be traded into. Wouldn't trail. Looking to see if there's anything here that could bring us down before here. Maybe if we've got a higher time frame, we can get a better picture of what's going on. Real quick, let's cut that. Okay, so the first place to hold is here, right? Close the low for this order block here. This low is close for this order block. This already held price down. Next one in the sequence is here. So that's exactly what I have on my screen. Okay. I did not mean to go that far. Okay, so we didn't trail because there was a gap. Price came down, we could have trailed here, but now we've got to that target. I would have trailed very aggressively. Probably would have got stopped at 7.33 or something around there. We're now at that part that can flip direction. If I'm anticipating that flip, already looking at short. Already looking at short here. The moment you gain the midpoint, you gain it here, right? You test back into it, so I would have been filled. Big move down. Would have been trading aggressively somewhere on the 15 probably, because we are down to that range, that first range. Sorry, the range it held to bring price up to here, right? So if this is holding, this is the next thing in the sequence anyway. So everything we have in the sequence, or in every ranges, we have a low that gets swept, we have the order block, we have the fair value gap. We have the high. Wherever it goes, it doesn't matter where it goes. If the order block fails, it might slip and go to the low, sweep it to go up. Regardless, something in each range is going to hold. So you got to look at every range and go, okay. If it comes to the low, does that mean it's failed? No. You could just sweep it and go up. You could get stopped out because you went for the order block, but then it sweeps and continues anyway. It's frustrating. But like I said, it doesn't matter where it goes, it's still going to work out. Would have been stopped out there. We did close that, so I would have went for a re-entry. Low to high. Could have gone for that. Like I said, it's going to be flipping direction. Actually, I would not have gone for this. Why? Because, like I say to you all the time, if we're just looking at these to flip direction, if our direction's up, we're looking for the opposing direction to flip it back down to the order blocks. This is technically the order block, the next one in sequence, if we close here, right? So if it just flips to here, when then we're basically saying, yeah, we're going for a target of 0.63. So yeah, this has worked out, but I wouldn't have gone for that. Okay. See where this goes. Go on the 5 minute real quick. Okay. Okay, if we go into 5 minute, we can see close these highs here, order blocks here. The midpoint of this order block is technically the same as the low on the 1 minute. Also, the lowest fair value gap here is just inversion fair value gap. So if this holds, if this still holds, then there's no reason for this to go down. So this is everything we have now. Yeah, we close this low, it looks like it's flipping down after holding here. But we're looking for the direction to go up now, right, after sweeping here. We swept in and never got to target, so there's really no real reason why we should fall off a cliff yet. Swept, a big push up. Maybe this goes and we come back down to this order block that we can hold. We can get into a trade there up to first target, that being here. Kind of looking for this to just do nothing anyway, because to be honest, it is just a random order block. It doesn't really mean anything. That should be looking at this really, because in the grand scheme of things, interior low swept, but if we go into high top from here, maybe we can see. So this was the order block, right? It got activated here. So if we go here real quick and see what's happening. Okay, so the midpoint of that's already holding. We kind of see these in between ranges as something that could just flip direction momentarily, but I don't really expect this to do much, because now we got to target, it should kind of just be straight to the highest point in the range, which is this order block. Yeah, it's already been tested, but it's the highest point, whereas this is just the midpoint of a range. It's not really going to do too much after we get to target. So once that target's been hit, it's like when you go down, right? If you have a random in-between order block, like one of these random in-between order blocks that hasn't been tested, once you hit that target, I'm no longer looking at these random ones as something that could hold. They only really hold when we've not hit targets yet. As you can see, every time you close one, it does come up and holds it. Once you get to the target, it kind of just disregards them, right? Doesn't do anything. It just kind of leads back to the top of that range, but brought the price down. So no, I wouldn't be looking at that. I'd be looking at this one, because this is the actual order block for that range. We're looking for this high to be closed. If this high can get closed, we can look for a long. High's closed. So once we get test back down, 30, right? So could have went for this here. Retested your entry there. So now we've retested. We can break even. So this would have been the trade after the retest down, break even, because we're looking for this to go, because if this goes, this order block's the next one in the sequence to get tested. If it doesn't go, then we can potentially come down to the lowest point of the range that broke out, because if we're actually looking here, right, we're just holding the daily, we're not holding anything in this range really. So if this goes and it doesn't go higher than this, anticipate this as a sweep. If we're doing that and we're anticipating it as a sweep, then we should go below here, which brings us into this. So that's our idea. Cool. Literally goes exactly to that. Fails, goes to it, breaks below this low like it should. What am I looking at? Well, I'm looking at this. This is the next target. Oh, sorry, the next position. Did close this though. Right, 1 second. Let's break this down. Closed it. this is holding here, but we closed this. This could temporarily flip direction down, meaning we might get stopped out for it to just continue up. If that's the fact, maybe what we should do is wait for this high to go, get a test down into it, and then get in a trade. Because we failed the high but then closed the low, meaning this order block's been activated. Let's take a look here. Okay, so if I did take this, and we're seeing this rejection, right? I'm seeing that rejection now. For me, this is a perfectly valid break even, because this shouldn't hold price down if we want it to go up now. Whereas because we closed here and failed to get above here, we are now looking at this as a threat. So once we don't get that movement above it in a fast manner, then we will just break even. Okay, we would have been out of this, let's see, and we would have been stopped out. So that was the exact correct play. Closed here, didn't close there. We took this because we came down to the bottom of the range, but because we closed here, we're seeing this as a threat. That would have stopped us out. So yeah, we played that perfectly though. Do I think we're going down? No. Sweeping here, right? If we're sweeping there, we can break here now. So maybe what I would do here is probably just enter on the daily to break here. This range don't even care about. Looking at this as target. Okay, this is the play I would go for if I wasn't going to go for this because I was skeptical. We wait for this to be closed, test back down into the order book for this high, and then take something off of it. So this is enough. This did test down. Right, this did test down off the high in an aggressive manner. Maybe we could have gone for that. You could always, while you're trying to get good at accuracy, right, you could always just compensate for the whole range, so you don't miss out on any trade. Yeah, it's going to have to go a lot higher, but until you get really good at accuracy, maybe a bigger stop loss is an okay idea. Okay, so like I said, we would be in this. Actually, no, we wouldn't. We would not have got tested there, which is a shame. But I would like to believe I would have tried this, as I was talking about it just now. Regardless, it doesn't really matter. We're just trying to look to see where this goes. So it should come up to this. Do I think this can do anything though? Not really, but I think this is first target. Flips direction down to where it should. Holding it in an aggressive way, as we can tell. For holding it in an aggressive way, why couldn't we try this? If we didn't want to try that, because we're looking at 46 as the swing as an 82, and we think we might go lower down into range, which personally in my opinion, we don't need to, because it does look like we're holding the high in an aggressive way, but we still can. So if you didn't want to take this because of that, that's perfectly fine. But just know now we've closed this, there's generally no reason why you can't go for a long now. This shouldn't hold price down. This range has been tested. Why is any of this going to hold price? Cool. Tested down, we would have got in this. Closed here, so even if you got trailed out, right, higher, low, tests here, this is the next thing in the range you would have got here. So let's say you went for wherever the midpoint is. So you got trailed out here for 1.17. So now you take this. Once you take the midpoint of this, Even if you lose here, why do you care? Because you're still up in profits. Yeah, it's only 0.17, but still, you need to be taking those re-entries when you get trailed out, because you know direction's going to flip at some point, and you know if you close a higher and you entered on the order block before the high got closed, you're already anticipating it coming back down to your entry. So getting trailed out and getting the same trade twice is what you should be doing near enough every single trade anyway. That's what I do. Cool. So where would we been? Moved up in a big way, break even, that's fine. Swept here. Get rid of some of the stuff here, we've got way too much stuff. Okay, maybe you didn't go for a re-entry here. In my opinion, I don't see why you wouldn't have. You just swept. Sweeping, you're going to come here. You didn't break the range, so this isn't going to hold. So I wouldn't be scared about taking the midpoint of this. We didn't close it. This isn't going to hold. No close, no hold. Plus our direction's up. Plus nothing here should hold us down. If this was to fail, it would just go to here before it goes up. So maybe you took a loss, but then you shouldn't be scared about taking a trade here, just because this brought us down, back down to here. We shouldn't now say, well, if this is holding, we're going to fail the whole range and come all the way down. No, if that does hold, it's just going to go to here, because this is the next range in the sequence. If it held the higher, well, the low side of it still hasn't been held. Plus on a higher time frame, this is probably like the 5 minute, the 15 minute order block or something. Cool. So now we've actually gained that 15 minute order block, which was here all the way at the start of the video, if you remember. We're not spoiling anything here. Okay, it was here. So we gained that order block. We could anticipate some price movement down. Our exterior target for the day, like we said at the start of the video, is here still. Holding here as well, we should get to the next daily. But this is the first thing that should flip direction down for a couple of hours before going higher. So this is still our target. In the long term though, target's up here. So we're long in until here, we're short in until here, we're long in until here. That's the play-by-play. That's what I'd be looking at. Get rid of some of this stuff now, we don't need all of this. That's the only thing we need there. Okay, cool. Up there, I would like to look at a higher time frame, but it'll just spoil everything, so we won't do that. Okay, we hop back onto the 1 minute. Okay, don't need to do that. Right. So if we was in this trade, right, the trade I was talking about, anywhere we would have been stopped out. Yes, in my opinion, I would have been trailed out before this big second move up, unfortunately. Here. 2.67, and then it would have went straight up, which is a shame, but it does happen near enough every single day for me, so I don't really care. Go back on to 15 real quick. Just need to see if we've got any. Ah, interesting. This is the highest fair value gap, which is also there. The highest fair value gap in this whole entire range to here is here, which is exactly where price is. I'm not looking at this to do that much, because you might be seeing, you might be thinking, why has he just picked up random fair value gap? In my opinion, it's not a random fair value gap at all. It's a close of a higher, a close of a low, sorry. Order blocks here, right? So if that is the thing that never got tested into, you see this close got tested into, this didn't here. This could momentarily flip direction down before we get to it, and that because now we've gained this, so maybe it flips us back down to here. This closed, price never came back up to it after falling off a cliff. This is the weekly gap as well. I just seen that Friday and Sunday. This isn't a random fair value gap. So let's see. This does anything. Does look like it's doing something. So okay, so at this point you could only assume that it's taking us back down to that range before we go higher. Order block's here, so it barely has to go anywhere to get to the order block. And if we look here as well, highest fair value gap is here. No fair value gaps into here. Highest fair value gap. One second here, let me just break this range down. All these highs got closed here. This was the range that brought price up. This range got closed here. Did retest. Okay, did retest. So what I was going to say is if this didn't retest, maybe we come down to here and this is what holds. Definitely still can be what holds. Definitely. Doesn't have to. It could be here, right? Because this is the order block of this range that just got closed, the biggest range of this entire move, and also the thing that swept price into here. So where's the midpoint of this? Yeah, it's literally the same level. Okay. So what we do here is we either come to this level or this level. This is the range that brought price up. This range here, this high and this low, failed to bring price up to here. This high, this low, bring price up to here. This is why I'm thinking it can return to here. So actually, in my opinion, I don't think we'll come to here. We'll either come to here or here, which I guess is also this anyway. But I think we'll come to here. If this doesn't hold is what I'm saying. If this doesn't hold. Just double checking everything here. After closing these highs, the highest fair value gap is here. If we don't move up in an aggressive way, so breaking this high, we will come down to here. Let's see. Also close these lows. Close these lows. So we could get movement up before we fall off a cliff. There's the movement up. This does look like it's holding. But there's nothing wrong with taking a short down to here before going higher. Because like I said, this should momentarily flip direction down to here. Just close to high now. So we can come back down to here. We do. And we break that. Not in the 15 yet. Okay, so let's see if my idea is is correct. If I was anticipating this and I was very convinced, either the midpoint of the wick here, or you wait for a bit more, you go for here. Maybe on a 15-second time frame, it's higher closed around here somewhere. So we could get a retest back down now before going higher. Just trying to go off of experience from what normally happens on the 15-second. There's that movement down that I normally see on the 15-second. Felt the midpoint of this. Okay, unless I took this at the midpoint of that, because I was very convinced on this holding. I will, I will just go through why if we're just going to hold again. I know I explained it, but this was the range that held the daily, which broke the high off of the on the lowest point of this range here, which if we're holding the lowest point, this is a higher time frame level, by the way. It's not, I didn't just mark this, I think it was the hour or something. I don't really ever use the hourly, but it's hourly. Holding this, if we are holding this, we can break this, right? And also failing to get lower off of this here, sweeping this low, sweeping the low, the lowest low of this whole range until down here. There is a lot behind this. This is just the next stepping stone, right? And you really have to like make sense of why you think it's going to come here and hold versus coming down to the, like, because for example, right, this is the actual order block. So why am I not looking at the midpoint of it, which is around here, versus this random ass order block, this random little high and low? Well, because this has more behind it than this, in my opinion, because this is the high, this is the low. This swing down failed to close this, whereas this held it and then brought us up, breaking these. So if this is going to flip direction down to anywhere, it's going to be here. This broke us up, this didn't. This just got gained, this didn't do anything, whereas this did. We have actually spoiled it, we can see where it goes, but let's see if we would have got anything here. Okay, movement back down to the range. We're at the order book now. So we'll try this. First target is 4.4. We expect to go higher. Highest point of that range is up here. Go straight down. Would we have been trailed out anywhere? No, nowhere at all. First place I would have trailed would have been the low of this order block, low of this candle. Big wick, this should hold, shouldn't go any lower. Even if we trailed aggressively candle by candle, we still wouldn't have been stopped out. Not stopped out, not stopped out. Not stopped out, not stopped out, stopped out. So I would have been stopped out for 9.4. Cool. So, if this held, this was the lowest fair value gap before the highest of the range. This has done its part. If it's done its part, the most it should do here is, now we've broke this high, maybe it holds one more time back down to the bottom of the range to then break price up. I am just going to skip forward now because it's been 50 minutes. I feel like we've done enough examples. Let's see if that is the case. So it did bring us down. Failed the high. Failed the high, broke the low. Okay. So also as well, we haven't got to the bottom of the range. So you might be seeing this as failure. I'm seeing it as failure just to get to here because we didn't hit the true target. So this movement back up here after closing here, take a short down to that. Don't really get that far, but that was my idea. Create some lows and then just went. Go into a higher time frame. Okay, so we can clearly see that it was just holding the lowest fair value gap here. Inversion fair value gap, never went any lower than that. Perfectly fine. That got held. Like we said, we was only anticipating this flipping direction down. So seeing this wasn't really anything. Would have tried that short. Would have probably been tried out for just under an R or something. And once you see that, sweep here, create equal lows. Could have definitely taken a long up. Session comes around 230 and we just fly it all the way up. Get rid of all this stuff. See where it goes. Okay, cool. Goes to that. Basically goes to that weekly, right? So if we're getting to that weekly, we're already targeting here. Once you slip there, maybe we'll be targeting the next day, high time frame level. Right, so yeah, I'll end it there. I think it was a solid video.